I know many women right now who are really suffering in their marriages because their husband, unfortunately, has a really destructive addiction. One woman, her husband is addicted to alcohol, another one, illegal drugs, another one, pornography, all devastating. So many negative consequences from these particular addictions. And so what's a woman to do? What's a Christian wife supposed to do in this situation? Well, you really have two choices. One, you can be a conflict avoider and just start wringing your hands in despair and just sink into depression and resentment, and eventually your marriage will implode. It might take several years or even a decade, but your marriage will implode if you take that path. The second path, much wiser, that is to address this issue head on, to confront your husband kindly, lovingly, but firmly, and request a change. Request a specific course of treatment, because often an addiction requires some really hard work to break. Otherwise, he would have broken it already. Often this requires some really drastic action, maybe a 12-step recovery program that he attends every week or several times a week for a year or more. Maybe it's an intensive treatment center. I don't know what it will be, but you've got to think this out. Ask the Lord for guidance, ask godly mentors for guidance in this as to what you're actually requesting your husband to do. Then make that specific request and give him a chance to really ponder this before you just pressure him into agreeing with you in 2 seconds. Ask him to really consider what your request is, and maybe talk about it again tomorrow after you've given him a chance to digest this really big ask, right? But I want to say this. We need to approach our husbands with compassion, because we all comfort ourselves in ways that are sometimes unhealthy. I mean, have you ever overeaten to comfort yourself, or overspend or shop to comfort yourself? You know what I mean. So let's not look down our noses at our husbands like they are so disgusting and we're so much better. Let's approach them with compassion, and your husband will be much more likely to do the hard work that's required to break an addiction if he feels like you are for him, that you are his encourager in this. This reminds me of Proverbs 18:21, where it says, "The power of life and death are in the tongue." In other words, you can speak words of death that are crushing and humiliating to your husband, where you're disrespectful, call him a big stinking jerk and every name that you can think of under the sun. Is he really likely to want to do the hard work to change if this is how you're treating him? On the other hand, you can speak words of life and encouragement and say, this is hurtful to me when you look at pornography, but I am for you. I am going to fight this with you. I'm with you all the way. You have a good heart, and I want to be your helper in overcoming this. I want to help you every step of the way. Which wife is he going to respond to better? You know what I mean, right? So in that moment, let's choose to be encouragers, even if we are making specific requests for change, even if we are drawing firm lines in the sand, firm boundaries, and saying, I will not continue down this road any longer. You must make this change, or perhaps I'm even going to have to separate for a while. That's called being firm, having a boundary, and yet still being kind, loving, and compassionate, and continuing to speak words of life to your husband.